and welcome back to the live morning show presented by Don Book Chevrolet. We are pleased to have with us this morning Emmanuel Williams with Peacemakers Rocky Mount. Emmanuel is the Director of Housing Development and Community Outreach for the organization. Thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah.
Let's start with a 10,000-foot overview of Peacemakers and Peacemakers Rocky Mount. Tell us a little bit about the organization.
Yeah, so Peacemakers is a nonprofit organization. We're a community development organization located in South Rocky Mount. And so that's our target area, is South Rocky Mount, that neighborhood. And we exist to see our neighbors flourish and thrive inside of South Rocky Mount. And so we are focusing on three major areas to help our neighbors flourish. And one of them is job readiness, another being housing development, and then lastly education. And so in those three areas, we have several different programs that we run. Those three, we have chosen those because we know those are huge needs inside of our neighborhood. And so the programs underneath each one of those, like I said, we got various ones that people are able to get involved in, and kids are able to get helped, even adults. And so that's what it is in a nutshell.
And we'll spend a little time on each one of those programs because each one of them has a specific place. I want to make certain that our viewers know, when you say South Rocky Mount, we are dealing with both Nash and Edgecombe sides of town.
Yeah, so our specific target of the neighborhood when we say South Rocky Mount is actually from, in this, you got to get your geographical mind on, so it's Raleigh Road over to Nashville, down to South Church Street, and then up to Kingston. So that 1 by 1 mile radius is what we're kind of focused on as far as our neighborhood goes. Not that we're neglecting anybody else. They're welcome to come as well and receive services from us, but as far as our target for development, that's the area we're focusing on.
I think that was what we were driving at, was that if someone is not in that specific geographic area, they still are available and eligible for your services.
Absolutely, yep.
How did you get involved with Peacemakers?
And it's a really long story that I'll shorten, but I'm originally from Virginia Beach. Okay. And so town that's a little bit different than Rocky Mount. Moved down here back in 2014 and actually came for seminary. So my background is a theological background, and was actually working. I did some vocational training in plumbing. I was doing full-time plumbing and going to seminary at the same time. And a friend actually introduced me to Peacemakers and said, man, this is a part-time position that I think you'd be great at. And at the time, what it was what was called the Refocus Program. And it was a program that was actually mitigating the issues of children being suspended from school, but yet not having somewhere to go afterwards or being left at home. And so we were able to create that program. I piloted it the first year, having students in from 3 to 10 days, helping them with social skills while we had a teacher in, helping them with their academic work. And so it was a win-win for the public schools and us. And so that was my introduction there. Later on, went on to start up with the after-school program and work in that, became the director of operations. And then later on, went to go pastor out in Tennessee for a couple of years, and just recently came back this last summer. But yeah, my coming to here was actually more of a surprise than intentional on my side. So, but it's totally changed my life.
I can imagine.
Able to work at Peacemakers.
So, did you complete seminary?
Yeah, I've completed. I'm continuing on. Yeah,
yes.
So just recently finished my MDiv and started a PhD program this fall. I mean this spring. So.
Where in Tennessee did you go?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Beautiful place.
Franklin specifically. Though.
Even more beautiful place.
It's almost perfect. It's almost heaven on earth.
Well, first of all, thank you for coming back to Rocky Mount.
Yep.
We're just always so very happy that people who either are natives or who have been here and have seen what the challenge and the opportunity is here, when they come back and bring their gifts and talents back, it's just a blessing. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, no problem. It's a blessing to be able to do it. And I don't want to get too spiritual on here, but there was, that was like divine opportunity to come back, and I'm excited to be back. And I think Rocky Mount, as it is named, the city on the rise, that there's a lot of potential, not only in the neighborhood we're working in, but in the city that we're in, and it's a blessing to be a part of transformation and development here. So
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little more about some of the programs that you have. As you and I were talking off air, there's several. One is the Hometown Hires. Tell us a little bit about that.
So Hometown Hires is an incredible program where we're in partnership actually with Nash Community College that actually facilitates the courses that we do in it. But what Hometown Hires is it's a program that helps people that have those barriers in the way of getting back to meaningful employment. What I mean by that is there are people that have live a life that has been marred by drug addiction, and so, or maybe they're transitioning out of prison or jail, like my father actually, who was just a part of the program and now has transitioned working at Braswell Farms and is doing an incredible job. But in that program, people are able to come, they sign up for that, fill out an application, they're able to come into a week-long boot camp with us where they're preparing them to actually go on to the job. So they're doing things like mock interviews, they're learning the hard skills, doing public speaking, things that are going to help them actually land that job. And then we partner them with one of our partnering employers to get a job. And then from that point, it doesn't end there, because we don't just want to put people in jobs. We think it's more than that. We want to help them with life skills. And so anywhere from financing to just social skills that they would need from transitioning. And so, the program's robust and really helpful for those transitioning that have those barriers.
A couple of questions. If someone needs educational experience to be able to move into a job, can you assist them with that?
We can assist them with that too. And so, like Nash Community College, they have the GED program, and we partner with them on that. And we are finding that as people come, sometimes it's adults that can't even read. And so there's a massive need for intervening in some of these ways to help people actually get meaningful employment. They don't lack the desire to go to work a lot of times. The skill is what's missing sometimes.
That was my second question, because especially in the last few months, there has been tremendous amount of talk, both locally and nationally, about businesses having a difficult time finding people to work, and there are a number of causes for that. My question to you was going to be, are you seeing a willingness and a desire from people to want to be employed and want to go to work?
And so, as you said, the problem's multifaceted. And one of the problems could be that there has been a lack of desire for those to go to work. We have seen that affect our program, and so the numbers have gone down. But we're assuming as things change, those will go back up. But we're just begging people, come on, help us help you. Get back into meaningful employment.
And there are jobs available out there.
There are jobs available. Plenty of them.
I think that's the thing that I would like for our viewers to understand, is that it's not a lack of jobs. There are good jobs out there that employers are willing to pay, and pay well, for people to come and work for them.
Right. And I think, as I said, I think the tide's about to change. We'll see that go right back up. So excited about that.
Another program is your after-school program. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh man, so the after-school program is, I actually had the privilege of working and overseeing the after-school program some years back, and to actually even come back and see kids that are still in our after-school program 3 or 4 years later is incredible, and they've grown in academic skills. But our after-school program is a time where after school, kids come and arrive from local schools. Parents are able to drop off their kids, and you got that single mom who's working 2 to 3 jobs that can't sit down at night to do homework with the student. Not that she doesn't want to help, but obviously circumstances don't allow for them. So we step in to help out and intervene with their homework, but then also whatever hard skills that we need to work on, whether that's math, literacy, we want to see them enhancing that. And so it's almost like harmonious partnership that we have with the public schools too, because we're targeting specific schools and students to come to our after-school program to help them. Schools that are struggling with students that have in literacy or any other subject.
Where do you hold those programs?
At our facility. It's at 221 Raleigh Boulevard.
How do the students get from school, when school is over, how do they get to your facility?
That's great. We just, so we have a bus that actually picks them up too. And so that's there. Now, we only focus on, our bus only goes within a 3-mile radius. In most of the schools, it's able to pick them up at, but then also parents drop them off.
With regards to the programs themselves, and I would say this, it's not always that single parent that's working. There are two parents that can be working 9 to 5 jobs.
That's right. Exactly.
That's traditional school hours just don't really work well for them. Both parents have that gap in the afternoon where they won't be home from working. What are you seeing from the students? Are you seeing, has COVID changed any of the things that you're looking at with the students in the after-school program?
Yeah, I think, man, it'd be hard to list everything here, and it's actually detrimental. I mean, it's sad.
Then let's do this. Let's talk about a couple of the other programs. We'll come back and talk about COVID in a broader sense. Housing. You have a program for first-time homeowners.
Yes,
home buyers.
Yes, I'm really excited about housing. So I oversee the Housing Development Initiative. It's our newest initiative, and we have 3 main goals inside of that. We want to improve and expand the overall quality of housing in South Rocky Mount. We want to increase the homeowner percentage inside of our neighborhood, and then we don't want to displace any of our neighbors. Anybody that wants to be a part of the transformation and wants to contribute to the transformation of the neighborhood can be. And so that we're working in partnership with our neighbors to see that happen. But one of the big things that we're doing in order to increase the homeowner percentage and not displace as well is we want to see our neighbors become homeowners. And so we have started up a homeownership program. And that program is aiming to take them from step 1 all the way to getting a loan, conventional or whatever kind of loan they can get to purchase a home. And so we do orientations bi-weekly to tell people about the program, what it's about, and then they can make their decision if they want to be a part of it or not. But yeah, that's what we're doing right now. We got 10 lined up actually that will start on December 11th. They'll go through our 7-month homeownership program. So,
Mr. Williams, this is one of the things that for first-time home buyers, and I remember when my wife and I were first-time home buyers, it's a daunting, it really is. There's so much that goes on that you're not taught about at any level of school, and that was, for us, that was back in the 80s. Now, this is 2021. It is a different environment, and it is much more challenging today as well, too. So these are skills that virtually no one has, and even if you're doing it for the second or third or fourth time, it's still a daunting process to buy a house. What's the success rate? Have you already had some folks that have come through?
So yeah, this is the, sorry.
So this is the first?
This is the first batch, it's the first group, and so one, pray for us, but then also just know that what we've done with this program is we said we want to take away any pre-qualifying things that have to come in. If you have the desire, we want to help you make it happen. So anywhere from 3 to 24 months, we're going to be walking with our neighbors to become homeowners. And that's going to obviously produce a lot of different challenges, and it's going to be a slow, meticulous work rather than quantity. And so we're hoping that the success rate will be high because we're going to be on the ground with them at every single moment, partnering them with financial coaches, giving them homeownership workshops, working with them to actually do either the remodel with their house or build a new construction if they qualify for that. And so it's a lot. It's a very intricate program, and we're hoping that the success rate will be very high. But hopefully, we can come back in a year and say everybody became a homeowner.
We'd love to have you back on before a year to get an update on that program as well as everything else that's going on. You also have a Christmas toy store.
Yes. So the Christmas toy store is an amazing thing. Every single year, and this year it will be December the 3rd and 4th. That's a Friday and Saturday, first Friday and Saturday of this month, or December. And in the Christmas toy store, what we do is we partner with our community and have people purchase toys, and we actually mark down those toys 80%, and then allow people to come in from our neighborhood that typically don't have a budget to be able to go out and buy gifts. So we're doing an opposite thing here other than just a toy drive with our Christmas toy store. We're rather than saying, let us give you gifts, we're inviting our neighbors in with the dignity that they have to purchase those gifts.
And I want to say that this is something that I've become aware of just within the last few years, but you're absolutely right. To give the people, to give your neighbors, and to give anyone the dignity to be able to look on Christmas morning and say, these are the gifts that we bought, that I purchased for my family and for my children. And there's a different feeling with that than having the gifts donated. That's not to denigrate one over the other, but it's it's a different way to approach it,
Right.
and to give something more than just the gifts.
And a lot of it actually comes down to our analysis of our neighbors, right? And so one of the rules we have is don't do for others what they have the capacity to do for themselves.
Yes.
And another rule we have is whatever we do no harm. And so you can imagine on a Christmas morning, a single mother that doesn't make much, being given gifts, which once again we don't want to demonize that, because there comes a point where you do need alleviation sometimes.
Yes.
So those gifts can be a blessing just being given. But a lot of times when we do that, what ends up happening is, let's just imagine the mother does get the capacity to actually start purchasing gifts later on, and that child later on says, man, back when we used to get gifts, Mom, let's go back to where we could get the gifts instead of you purchase the gifts for us.
In a child's innocence.
Yes.
Right.
And so we don't want to strip them away from that, but actually help them be able to purchase many toys as they can. So it's an exciting event, and so we have several different avenues people can volunteer. We'll get to that, I guess, later. But every single year we have a ton of our neighbors come through and purchasing gifts. There's a lot of joy inside of the building in our facility. That's where it's held at.
I can't imagine.
Every single year. And so, tis the season. Yeah.
Let's now to return to COVID. To give us an overview of how COVID has affected your services over the last 22 months.
Yeah, so it's affected it in positive and negative ways. The negative way, one we've already hit on, which is in the Homeownership Hires program. I think there's been a sense of incentive to be unemployed to a certain degree, and so we've seen a decrease in numbers on people attending that, but also the number of people that we could take just due to COVID restrictions. The other thing that we've seen a positive effect in actually is through our education, where this whole last year we had what we call the day program, and kids who were in the virtual academy were able to come to us. We had 60 kids with us, able to come to our facility, and we ran it and hosted like a school. So they were there doing that. Now, this was really hard work. They're doing their Zoom calls. We made sure they got their classwork done, and then we helped them. We were able to intervene and do any sort of tutoring that we could to help them enhance in different academic subjects. And so it was a great blessing in that way, actually, I think, for a lot of our neighbors. But it hit us a lot, especially with hometown hires.
The opportunity, taking lemons and making lemonade out of them, and being small and agile and nimble enough to be able to take what the situation offers you and be able to turn it to the advantage of the children that were there.
Yes, and it was a blessing, I think. And a lot of the kids that actually are there, they have matriculated into our after-school program as well. And so overall, a good blessing to us. So.
If anything that we've said today speaks to our viewers, they feel that there is a program that may be a benefit to them, or they would like to learn more and perhaps become involved with Peacemakers, how can they go about doing that?
Yeah, so the easiest way to get involved with anything I just said is actually going to our website, and so that's RockyMountPeacemakers.org.
And this information will be here at WHIG if you don't have an opportunity to write it down, but RockyMountPeacemakers.org.
Yeah, so go to RockyMountPeacemakers.org. At the top, you'll see how to get involved. Click on volunteering there, and there'll be a list of ways that you can actually volunteer, and in each one of those programs, and you could sign up that way. Another way is actually to contact our facility, and we have a volunteer coordinator, Sean Dancy, who can get you connected in that way if you want a more personal way rather than going online.
Okay.
But that's the major way how to get involved with any avenue.
And there are opportunities for volunteers.
Yes, and so immediately there's opportunities for volunteers, especially for our after-school program.
Okay.
And so ideally, I could say for our after-school program, it'd be nice if each student had their own personal tutor coming in on a, well, I know everybody can't come on a daily basis, but that would be ideal too.
Yes.
But it'd be nice if they can have a tutor periodically coming in, helping them either with homework or with any sort of academic skills that they need to be enhanced on.
Sometimes it's just nice to have that additional person there as a
mentor,
as a coach, as a warm body, as another person, another adult who cares, to say, let's just sit here and go through this together.
Yeah, and we find that's a blessing too. There's a huge thing whenever people are coming in and they're developing the relationships too, where they come trying to help the kid, and what I've heard several times is they've been helped themselves.
Yes.
And so, yeah, mutual edification that's there.
Yes.
So,
Mr. Williams, thank you so very much for being with us.
Yeah, no problem.
I would like to have you back in several months,
Yeah.
if for nothing, to get an overall update on Peacemakers, but also to get an update on the housing program. That is a unique program that you put together. I'd be very interested in hearing how that's going, but if you're willing to share about the challenges and the successes with it as well too, because that has the opportunity to fundamentally transform not only the community, the neighborhood that you're working in, but to show the way for others to transform as well too.
Yes, I would love to come talk about that.
Let's give it 5 or 6 months, and after the first year, come back and we'll get an update on that.
Sounds good. Gives me a goal to shoot for.
Thank you so very much for being with us.
Yes.
We really have enjoyed this.
All right.
We have been honored to have Emmanuel Williams of Peacemakers with us today. If you have any questions or would like further information, please go to their website, RockyMountPeacemakers.org. We're going to step aside for our last commercial break, and when we come back, Fred will have our last look at weather, and Wayne and I will wrap things up for today. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you in a few minutes.